Hola, buenos días, queridos asociados. Pues muy contentos de que nos podamos ver el día de hoy también. Pues hemos tenido una semana muy intensa en cuanto a los webinars. Tenemos un cartel el día de hoy súper espectacular y por ello agradecemos a nuestra empresa amiga de Greuter, pues por habernos formado este panel que nos van a compartir experiencias relacionadas con pues cómo se forma y se crea la ciencia y la tecnología. Tenemos expertos en el área de matemáticas, química y también personas que vienen desde, bueno, que podamos a conectar desde Boston y también desde Berlín, y todo ello por la magia de la tecnología y de pues todo lo que ahora podemos hacer a través de estos webinars. Pues por todo ello les doy pues la más cordial bienvenida y les garantizo que el día de hoy vamos a tener una súper experiencia. Queremos agradecer de este webinar a nuestra querida empresa amiga, representada a través de Alicia Mandujano, y que en este momento pues es de Greuter. Quiero leerles una pequeña semblanza de Greuter, que ustedes pues ya saben que es una empresa amiga, que creo que es lo principal, saber que ha sido muy solidaria con todos los bibliotecarios y con todo lo que hemos estado viviendo aquí en Lambach. Y es una empresa que fue fundada desde 1749 con sede en Berlín y que tiene oficinas en Boston, Beijing, Basilea, Viena, Varsovia y Múnich. Ha sido sinónimo de calidad de contenido y sobre todo de solidaridad en sus más de 270 años de historia editorial. Publica más de 1.300 títulos nuevos cada año y más de 400 journals y 50 bases de datos. También cuenta con un programa de socios editoriales con más de 20 empresas universitarias participantes como Harvard, Princeton, Yale, Stanford, Columbia, Toronto, entre otros. Sus objetivos son crear nuevas oportunidades para promover, difundir y proteger el conocimiento, conectar a los investigadores con el conocimiento científico y fomentar el intercambio interdisciplinario. Ser socio confiable y solidario, como lo sabemos que lo es, de los académicos, independientemente de la disciplina u origen. Y bueno, al final vamos a tener una pequeña presentación comercial que va a dar la licenciada Alicia Mandujano, a quien ya todos conocemos, pero quien en este momento también me permito presentar, ya que ella es licenciada en Administración de Empresas, egresada de la Universidad La Salle y actualmente estudia su maestría en Administración de Empresas con especialidad en Marketing en Indiana Tech y es la gerente de ventas para Latinoamérica de la editorial de Greuter. Desde hace 6 años es responsable de las ventas de libros, revistas y bases de datos de la región. Bueno, pues creo que con todo esto que les vamos a compartir el día de hoy a través de esta asociación con nuestra empresa amiga de Greuter, pues será un buenísimo día. También quiero darle las gracias y presentarles a nuestro moderador, que también ya es una persona muy conocida por parte de ustedes como socios y también de muchos otros bibliotecarios, el maestro Martín Vera Cabañas, quien será próximamente en la siguiente mesa directiva nuestro secretario general. Martín, ¿qué tal? Buenos días.
¿Qué tal? Muy buenos días, doctora Lupita. Muchísimas gracias por la presentación y les agradezco la presencia.
Pues te cedo los micrófonos, Martín, y te agradezco toda tu participación. Es importante recordarles a nuestros socios que para este evento tenemos una liga en la cual ustedes pueden entrar directamente a la traducción. Héctor ya les ha compartido en el chat la liga a través de la cual ustedes pueden ingresar a la traducción. Si tienen algún problema, por favor, nos ponen un chat, vamos a estar pendientes para poderlo solucionar a través del chat de manera directa con cada uno de ustedes. Bueno, pues ahora sí, Martín, adelante, tienes cámaras y micrófonos para ti.
Muchas gracias, doctora. Sí, como comentó la doctora Lupita en el chat actualmente de Zoom y también a través de nuestro canal en YouTube, está la liga para que activen una traducción simultánea porque estas presentaciones van a ser en inglés. Entonces, simplemente con que rellenen su nombre, ya pueden acceder a la traducción simultánea en lo que están las presentaciones. Bueno, pues voy a hacer la presentación de 4 expertos y cuatro personajes de la editorial de Greuter que nos van a hablar acerca de todo el mundo de la construcción, de cómo realizar una colección en ciencia y tecnología. En ese sentido, pues bueno, vamos a tener 4 presentaciones. En primer lugar, vamos a tener a Daniel Tiemann, y les comento que Daniel es el vicepresidente de Ciencia, Tecnología y Medicina en De Gruyter y es el responsable por el desarrollo estratégico y operativo de toda la parte editorial de Ciencia, Tecnología y Medicina en esta editorial De Gruyter. Antes de trabajar con De Gruyter, Daniel trabajó con Elsevier y con Wolters Kluwer en diferentes puestos o diferentes actividades administrativas y de gerencia en dichas editoriales. Posteriormente vamos a tener a Christine Smith. Christine Smith es una editora de adquisiciones de química industrial y de ciencias de los materiales en De Gruyter. Antes de trabajar en De Gruyter, tuvo un estudio postdoctoral en coloidales e interfaces en la Universidad en Potsdam, en Alemania. Su tesis doctoral fue sobre investigación sobre los carbonos y sobre superficies de oro. Posteriormente, Steve Elliott va a hacer la presentación y Steve Elliott es el gerente ejecutivo de matemáticas en De Gruyter. Antes de trabajar en esta editorial, fue también el gerente ejecutivo de ingeniería en Cambridge University Press. Tiene más de 30 años de experiencia en el mundo editorial y ha trabajado en una gran cantidad de editoriales tales como Elsevier, Springer, McGraw-Hill y Wiley. Finalmente vamos a tener a Darren Green. Darren Green es el gerente ejecutivo responsable por el desarrollo estratégico de todo el portafolio de revistas de matemáticas en De Gruyter. Antes de trabajar en De Gruyter, trabajó en Blackwell Publishing y en John Wiley & Sons por muchos años. Darren tiene una maestría en filosofía y literatura y está actualmente viviendo en Boston, Massachusetts. Ajá. Bueno, pues como ven, estimados socios, pues tenemos a 4 investigadores y 4 profesionales excelentes que nos van a hablar acerca de la forma de cómo se comercializa, cómo se realiza una gran colección en ciencia y tecnología y bueno, pues sus antecedentes académicos son muy altos. Así que bueno, le damos la más cordial bienvenida y en primer lugar, pues le cedemos la palabra a Daniel Tiemann. Please, Daniel, if you want to talk, go ahead, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Martin. I'm very pleased and we are very pleased to be here and thank you so much for the invitation. So I would like to start with my presentation now to give you an overview over what we are doing at De Gruyter and who we are. So together with my colleagues, Christine Smith, Steve Elliott, Darren Green, I will give you an overview over our strategy, our activities at De Gruyter for our science and technology portfolio. We have structured our today's webinar into 4 sections. The first one is done by me. So I will tell you a little bit about who we are, what De Gruyter is, about our science, technology, medicine team, our value proposition to our customers, our focus areas, and our book types. In the second part, Christine will give you an overview of our focus areas in physical sciences, and also will introduce you to some highlight titles and our strategy in parts of our physical sciences portfolio. Steve will then give you an overview over the focus areas in mathematics. So the last part will be with the focus on mathematics. Steve will cover the books section. So he will introduce you to focus areas, to the highlights and strategy for new products, to kind of give you an overview over what products we put in and what we try to cover for our customers here in the community. And then last but not least, Darren will also highlight the focus areas for journals in mathematics, also introduce you to some flagship products and the strategy for the mathematics journals portfolio. If you have any questions, there's always a slot in the end of each presentation where you can ask your questions, and we will be happy to answer them. There will be some QR codes which you can scan and then download either additional materials, our catalogs, and also we-cards if you want to keep in touch with us. So there's a chance in some slides we provided. Feel free to download that and feel free to get in touch with us. So enjoy the presentation. I will first want to give you an overview about what DeGorder and who is and who we are. DeGorder was founded 270 years ago in 1749 by a German publisher named Walter de Gruyter. And today we are working in 7 different locations worldwide, which is Berlin in Germany, Basel in Switzerland, Boston in the US, Munich in Germany again, Beijing in China, Warsaw in Poland, and Vienna in Austria. Today, De Gruyter employs around about 380 employees in these locations. And we are generating 72 million euros in revenues in 2020. De Gruyter consists of 8 different brands, such as De Gruyter Mouton, for example, or Siendo, or Oldenburg, a German brand, and has become one of the most important open access publishers worldwide as an independent publisher. We have a platform online which we lately completely restructured and reorganized, which is degruyter.com. On this platform, you will find 120,000 books, over 800,000 articles from journals, and this platform is visited by over 2 million visitors each month. We are publishing 1,500 books. This year it will even be 1,600 new books a year, and provide 330 subscription journals and 100 open access journals. We have 70 databases and online reference works, and over 50,000 archived titles online. We publish 16,000 journal articles per year, and we also have tight collaborations with famous university presses like Yale or Princeton, for example, and our publishing partners publish over 3,000 new titles per year. So this means that we have a huge portfolio on stock, which we offer to our scientific communities and audiences. We are also collaborating with over 250 academic associations and universities to bring in the necessary input for our books and journal contents. Today, we will be covering the science, medicine, and technology part. De Gruyter has a very strong branch of humanities and social sciences, and also a separate group on arts and architecture. Today, there will be just science, medicine, and technology. And in this section, we will today give you an overview over our physical sciences portfolio, which is chemistry, industrial chemistry, material sciences, and physics. And also that will be with the focus in the second half on mathematics. Here's a little overview of our teams, acquisition teams, and the management teams. I'm heading the books publishing part, which consists of an international team. This is actually my clone heading this, and my colleague Karin Zora, who is heading the German language part of this topic areas. And separately, there's the journals team, also responsible for STM contents, which is Darren Green, who will give you an overview of the mathematics journals today, and David Sleeman, who does the science and technology journals. So today it will be Christine, Darren, Steve, and I who will give you an overview of our products. When we are checking about how can we distinguish and how can we have a special offer to our audiences, so how can we compose a really compelling program, we were looking for a value proposition for our audience and our communities. And we found that most publishers are going for the more sophisticated upper level contents. And we said, okay, we want to do something more comprehensible and utilizable for our customers. So we created a value proposition, which is read, comprehend, and utilize. It should be applicable and it should be utilizable very easily. And so we are striving to provide easily comprehensible and practice-oriented contents. And our focus groups are our audiences, our graduate students and young professionals, and we're focusing on interdisciplinary topics. Today, you cannot just focus on one topic area anymore. There are so many overlapping subject areas that it's simply not possible to kind of think in a silo and just provide contents on one separate part in science and technology. It all goes together, and this is what we will see in Christine's presentation later. It's all interdisciplinary and all for easily comprehensible contents here. So we then decided we want to focus on special areas because we can't do all. That's way too much for us. We are a medium-sized publisher. And so we decided to have certain focus areas we want to provide to our customers. And this is energy, it's green processes, it's analytical chemistry, it's nanotechnology, artificial intelligence, and polymers. And of course, for the last part of the presentation, it's mathematics in that case. So this is these are the focus areas which we want to cover today. And these focus areas are displayed, provided in different book types. We have different series in our program just to make our program better understandable for our customers so that they know exactly on which point in their life cycle they should choose which products. The first is our De Gruyter Studium series. This is the series which is mostly in German, and as all the books are soft cover and approximately 400 to 1,000 pages. This is in German, so this is the reason why we won't cover this today. I will show you in the next slide. The second one is graduate. This series is consists of advanced textbooks, so that's the second level in our customer's life cycle or academic career cycle. And the covers are soft cover, and its page count is around about 250 to 450 pages. The third book type is on our STEM series, Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics. This is already professional textbooks. So it's graduate student, young professionals in this area. Internally in De Gruyter, we call that individual purchase because we are going for the individual customer here. And 95% of this books is in English language. The remaining 5% is German because we still have a strong brand with Oldenburg in Germany, where we're covering German language books as well. Approximately 350 to 550 pages is the volume of these books. And the last one and most sophisticated books we have in the program are monographs and reference works. And with these series, with these books, we are covering, targeting the library market because this is for universities and for our customers and readers in universities from research. And of course, students this is what we are targeting. Internally, it's De Gruyter Academics. It's 99% English language books, hardcover, and around about 350 to 550 pages. We just learned that the page count is kind of ideal for these target groups because most people, as students and researchers, don't like these huge, big books anymore so much, but we are targeting the smaller books, which are easily comprehensible, what I said in the beginning, and also like more the brief version of it so that you don't have, it's more easy to consume them. In this matrix, it looks a little bit confusing in the beginning, but I think it is. It's not. When you start on the left side of the screen, it's like this is the academic life cycle or the customer life cycle. We start with the basic studies in the studies, then it's the main studies, interdisciplinary sciences, research and development, and then professionals on the top. The topics or subject areas, this is the second column here. For this, on the bottom, you have all the books which were the Goethe Studium. It's great because we won't cover this today. It's German language and it's probably not relevant for the international global market. But the second level already is with the main studies, which is industrial chemistry, material sciences, and mathematics. This is all English language books. It's graduate textbooks. And we are focusing on the libraries here, the trade, which is bookshops. And of course, we will present this on conferences. The main brand here is the Goethe. The interdisciplinary sciences, which is industrial chemistry and material sciences in our case, is all in English language. And these books are individual purchase books. So this is the next level in the academic cycle. And also here, it's a blend of libraries, trade, bookshops, and conferences where our customers and our audiences are. Research and development is industrial chemistry again, and material sciences, and also mathematics in that case. And there we have monographs, which is the more sophisticated and the broader or deeper insights into topics. And with these monographs, we are solely focusing on the library market. So this is why we are really happy also to talk to you today, because we can present and show you what we have in our strategy for libraries especially. The Goethe is the main brand here. And then we have our professionals literature, which is engineering and computer sciences. And what you had in the slide before, this is the Oldenburg brand in Germany, which is mostly German. And then we have English literature for professional textbooks here. Also, again, it's libraries, bookshops, and conferences we are covering with that. So these are our target groups and our subject areas. And this is, I'd say, the basis of how and what our strategy is based and built. And based on that, you will see now when Christine has taken over, and also Steve and Darren, how this all feeds into this basic framework of strategy. So if you have any further questions, I'm happy to answer them now. With this QR code, you can download my card if you want to stay in touch, or if you're interested or know someone who would be interested in publishing with us. Otherwise, I'm happy to answer any questions now when it comes down to strategy.
Okay. Thank you very much, Daniel, for your excellent presentation. I think the questions can be done at the end of the webinar, please.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Christine.
Okay.
Go ahead with your presentation. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks. Daniel, I need you to click forward for me.
Yes.
That is the price you pay for going first.
No problem. I switch off my camera now and hand over to you. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay. So, yeah, we're going to show just a quick video about the physical sciences. I think the sound is off for it, but you still get an idea of the portfolio that we'll be discussing a bit more today. Yeah, so as Daniel mentioned, we have things in many different book types and on focus areas like Nano, which I'll talk about in a second, some of our journals there. Industrial chemistry, we have quite a strong portfolio, but I won't so much focus on that today. Several open access journals and some books now too. Energy, which I will cover a bit later as a focus area. And I'll highlight some of our textbooks, but not all, of course. Okay. Cool. I think the video is done. Excellent. You can go to the next slide now. Yes, so the first focus area that I will be covering today is on nano, so nanoscience and nanotechnology. Many of you may be familiar with the topic, but just to show again how interdisciplinary this topic can be, I have here a subject area map that covers kind of all things related to chemistry, biochemistry, and material science. You see nanochemistry down in the right-hand corner here, and you can see how many things and areas it's connected to. So we can see bridges between analytical chemistry there, material science, organic chemistry, industrial chemistry, and you really can apply it across the board there. While you cannot see the links here, there are also links even to biology and things like that when we're considering biological systems and drug delivery, for example. So yeah, it's a very interdisciplinary focus area, which is why we thought it was a good one to go for. You can click forward, Daniel. Oh, go back. I think it just like, yeah, perfect. So in the backlist, we have approximately 55 titles published before this year, focusing on this area. And we have 15 titles to be published, or most of which have been published in 2021. And I think a similar amount coming in 2022. I've listed some of our books here. You can see in the different product types. So the STEM series, individual purchase, those three in the center are of that style. You can recognize ones in the STEM series by the border it has around our books. So this black and gray border, that's always going to be in that series, as well as some from our monograph series. Additionally, two journals that I thought it really important to highlight were Photonics and Nanotechnology. These are two of our really large and successful journals at the company with impact factors both above 7, which you can see there. And both of these journals are open access. Yes, that's fine. Then I wanted to highlight one specific title from each focus area. So for this one, I chose Conjugated Polymers at Nanoscale, which came out earlier this fall. You can see even by the title that it's overlapping, of course, with polymers. So it's already going to be interdisciplinary by nature. I listed here on the slide a bit of what is covered within the book. Important notes are that it comes from, again, from our STEM series, which you can tell from the cover. The authors come from MIT, so they're quite prestigious. And yeah, it's an interdisciplinary topic. It's doing quite well in our portfolio. We can move forward now. The next focus area I'd like to cover is on analytical chemistry. So again, we pull up the same subject area map. You can see analytical chemistry in the bottom center of the map. Here, while it's only linking to forensic and super molecular chemistry, you can imagine that analytical chemistry is actually required in every area of this map, because in order to validate our results, we need to analyze them. So we're going to need analytical chemistry helping in environmental chemistry, biochemistry, organic chemistry. Even also the analysis of nanotechnology is vital for its research. So it's a very interdisciplinary area, and we're seeing it as, yeah, a very good foundation to overlay over the whole platform, sorry, the whole portfolio. In our backlist, we have around 50 books, both in German and English. And from the front list, we have 15 titles for 2021. You can see here that they're coming in all of our different book types. So some of our graduate textbooks in this area are on bioanalytical chemistry and forensic chemistry, both two titles that have been doing quite well this year. We have some handbooks and encyclopedias with this energetic materials encyclopedia, as well as a handbook on proton NMR spectroscopy of natural products. And then covering on our journals, we again have 2 open access journals that relate strongly to this topic. One, of course, reviews in analytical chemistry. I think that speaks for itself. And then open chemistry. You can go to the next slide. So yeah, as I mentioned, the highlight title that I think is really important for this year coming out of analytical chemistry is this Handbook of Natural Products. It comes in 6 volumes, with each volume covering a specific subcategory of natural products. So for instance, the first one is alkaloids, and it's really comprehensive in nature. It contains literature references to primary sources, which are useful for chemists. The authors come from, China, and this is one of our major reference works. The next focus area I'll cover is on energy. So we can pull up again our subject area map, although this time it looks a bit different because now we're kind of moving away from chemistry and looking at some of our other areas. Here you can see energy at the bottom left-hand corner and see all of the areas it can connect to, but again, you can connect it to other areas in chemical engineering outside of the ones that's drawn to here. Of course, physical chemistry, that I think is quite obvious. We can also imagine, for fuel cells, getting rid of carbon dioxide waste and using it to convert to energy. Another interesting one to consider is this biomass renewables. We actually have quite a lot of titles focused on biomass and its utilization. And I think this is becoming a really niche topic that's doing well in our energy focus area. Again, for our backlist, we have 45 titles that have previously been published by us. And then from 2021, we have 20 new titles coming, with even more coming in 2022. Here, again, I have many of our individual purchase titles, as well as some monograph style titles listed at the bottom. For journals, again, we have 2 open access journals here, Energy Harvesting and Systems, and International Journal of Emerging Electric Power Systems from our journals department. You can move to the next slide now. For our highlight title, I selected Frontiers in Optics and Photonics. Here, the editors of the book are actually also founding and publishing editor of our journal Nanophotonics, which I talked a bit about in the nano focus area. The lead editor, Federico, comes from Harvard University, so very high quality researcher. It also contains a chapter by a Nobel laureate, Shuji Nakamura, on nitride LEDs. And importantly, the contributions to this book were organized as a benefit for COVID-19 victims. So the open access fees that were collected went towards this, and it's monograph style. You can move to the next slide now. Next, we have green processes. So this can relate to many areas of industry on how to make them more sustainable. Perhaps we should, again, pull up our subject map to give us some context for this. I think if you click forward, there it goes. So this is, again, the same industrial chemistry mind map from the energy one. We can see sustainable chemistry in the bottom center, but really every aspect of this map can be made more efficient, more economical, and in the end, those things lead to more sustainable. If things take less energy, it's a more sustainable process. There's also, when we consider, sustainable chemistry, it's where are we getting our feedstocks from, where are we getting our renewables from. So here I have some books. The first one is actually contained within a series on green chemistry and industry by Benvenuto, one of our editors from the US. We also have some graduate textbooks on sustainable process engineering and some other titles as well. For journals, the ones I've selected here are Green Processing and Synthesis, Reviews in Chemical Engineering, which has quite a high impact factor of 6.299, and Physical Sciences Reviews, which I'll touch on at the end of my section. We can move to the next slide. So the title I selected for green processes is Sustainable Process Engineering. The author of this book comes from King Abdullah University of Science and Technology in Saudi Arabia, a really up-and-coming institute for science and technology research. It comes from our graduate series. It's unique in the fact that we have QR codes embedded in the text that link out to other resources. And additionally, we held a webinar together with EFCE, the European Federation of Chemical Engineers, and CHISA, the Czech Chemical Engineering Society, to promote the book. We made a recording of this webinar, so that's the QR code that I have there, but I'm also happy to share the link for that in the chat, or you can find it on our YouTube page. And yeah, quite a nice title. Second to last, I have polymers. So we have quite a lot on polymers. Actually, the Nano title that I selected hits on polymers a bit. But you can see here polymers in the top center of our subject area map, this time for material science. It is connected to many different areas. You can use it in, of course, constructing material, focusing on the properties of the polymers. You can also focus on the source of the polymers. So this like interface between biomaterials and polymers when we're coming from renewable sources. It can be used in organogels, and the list goes on. I think that's enough for now. So from our backlist, we have over 50 books titles published already. And in 2021, we had 15 titles. Again, you can see the flyer for all of these with the QR code that's on the slide. And I have, a selection of the books listed here. So on titles such as superabsorbent polymers, silicon-based polymers and materials, and a few others. For journals, I have listed here Journal of Polymer Engineering, ePolymers, and Wood Research and Technology, with all of their impact factors listed there. You can go to the next slide. And for a highlight title, I thought, again, we should be focusing on interdisciplinary, so I picked one that hits on this biomaterial sustainability, as well as polymers, with biopolymers and composites. So you can see a bit more what the title covers here. The editors come from Penn State and South China Agricultural University, and it's interdisciplinary, and you can tell from the outline of the cover that it comes from our STEM series. Next slide, please. Lastly, I'd like to cover artificial intelligence. Perhaps let's go straight to our subject map. You can see artificial intelligence overlays with many areas of computer science, but actually it goes even further. All of the titles that I've mentioned previously, you can apply artificial intelligence to the research advancements. So it's, in its essence, interdisciplinary in nature, I guess, is a focus area. You can click forward. Again, I have a flyer with all of our AI titles listed here, so you can scan the QR code and look at it. From the backlist, we have over 50 titles previously published, and in 2021, 11 titles were published, with more to come. You can see some of our books here. Actually, some come from a series within our computer science program, such as Intelligent Biomedical Data Analysis. Additionally, some of our journals listed are ICOM and Information Technology. And then we can go to our highlight title, which is Accelerated Materials Discovery. Now, this one is actually a preview for 2022. It comes out in February, but I thought it was a perfect one to highlight as it's overlapping artificial intelligence and computer science with material science. Here it has chapters contributed from world-leading experts. You can read some of the institutes that come from here on the slide. The editor himself is listed as top 30 under 30 in energy by Forbes magazine. So even that is interdisciplinary in nature because he's getting a book together on AI. And again, it comes from our STEM series. We can move forward. So here I mentioned you can click forward actually all the way so that all the things are displayed. Yeah, that's great. So here I mentioned in the analytical chemistry highlight title, this proton NMR spectroscopy one in the center. We have other major reference works from the areas covered. So we have a section on nanoethics. So these major reference works comes with that focus area. We have one on energy, environment, and new materials. So again, in the energy focus area, and that's like a 3-volume major reference work on hydrogen production, storage, and utilization. And then also from our chemical sciences, we have a series focusing on pharmaceuticals, green and sustainable, and computational aspects, one for each volume. And again, the flyer is in the QR code below. You can move forward. So for our physical sciences reviews, I mentioned the journal earlier, and I just wanted to go over how it operates. Typically, when we're creating a book, we're often waiting for manuscripts, and not all come in at the same time. You can click forward, and one more time. So a chapter comes in. Obviously, it would be the first chapter. It's not quite ready for the book to go on publication, so it goes on the stack. You can click forward one more time. This happens frequently over the book moving forward. Chapter submission, put it on the stack. Chapter submission, put it on the stack. Eventually, all chapters come in, and we move on to production, and that's the traditional workflow for a book. But unfortunately, if you are very early in submitting your chapter, you could run the risk of being out of date by the time the book is published. So is there a solution for this, that we can utilize this material that's just sitting there? And the answer is this physical sciences reviews. Basically, we take chapters that are eventually going to make its way into a book, and while it's waiting to go out for the book, we publish it as a journal article in our physical sciences reviews journal, which is a collection of articles published monthly. And this alleviates the stress of waiting for your manuscript to go out. Yeah, so that's basically the project. It's fine. I basically had said everything anyway. Daniel, you can move forward to the last one. Yeah, I would like to thank you all for listening to my quick overview of the physical sciences areas. Again, if you have any further questions, please feel free to reach out to me, whether you're interested to learn more about one of the focus areas, if you know someone who wants to publish with us, anything of that nature. There's a QR code with my information, but you can also just message me here as well. And with that, I'd like to hand it over to our senior editor in mathematics, Steve Elliott. So Steve, feel free to turn on your camera, and I'm going to turn mine off.
Okay, wow, I guess it's me now. Okay, so buenos días y buenas tardes para todas las personas de aquí. That's it for my Spanish for right now. But anyway, so, okay, so mathematics. Daniel, you can go to the next slide. That's telling you we're going to mathematics. Oh, okay, okay. So basically, these are the types of content we publish. Let me just give you a quick overview besides what's on the slide. Our portfolio in mathematics is series driven. We have 10 different series, and we have 55 internal editorial board members. Actually, the editorial board members who sit on the series, who are from various academic institutions from around the world. Why do we do this? Well, this allows us to have a great deal of expertise and to know exactly what our individual mathematics communities are interested in. The mathematics community, mathematics in general, is quite splintered. There's different areas: geometry, algebra, numerical methods, etc. So we have our editorial board members who are the experts in this area, and they tell us where we should publish and how we should publish and what we should publish, meaning which leads to our publications being both timely and topical. Just here, I have a quick an overview of how many titles. This is our title output from the mathematics list over the last 3 or 4 years. So you'll see it's pretty consistent. So I'm going to read to you very quickly, or tell you very quickly. I'm going to highlight 5 series in this presentation that we publish in. It would take me a couple hours to discuss each series in detail, so I'm not going to do that. I will highlight our 5 most popular and most prolific series. but just for your edification, the 10 series we currently publish are de Gruyter's Studies in Mathematics, de Gruyter's Expositions in Mathematics, the de Gruyter series in Nonlinear Analysis and Applications, the de Gruyter series in Logic and its Applications, the de Gruyter series in Discrete Mathematics and Applications, the de Gruyter series in Mathematics and Life Sciences, the Radon series on Computational and Applied Mathematics, the de Gruyter series in Probability and Stochastics, Advances in Analysis and Geometry, and finally, the de Gruyter series in Applied and Numerical Mathematics. In addition, we publish a preceding series, which offers highlights of various conferences that may be of interest to our readers. And as part of our graduate level textbook series, which Daniel covered and Christine touched on earlier, we publish textbooks aimed at senior and graduate level mathematics students. But again, for the purposes of this presentation, now that I've gone all through that, I'm going to highlight 5 of our most prominent series here. Okay, so first we have one of our most prominent series and the oldest in the mathematics publications for de Gruyter is our de Gruyter Studies in Mathematics. This series was founded 35 years ago by the late Professor Heinz Bauer and Professor Peter Gabriel. And its goal was to establish a series of monographs and textbooks of high standard written by scholars with international renown in the fields of applied and pure mathematics. Again, the audience is students and researchers, primarily in advanced mathematics and theoretical physics. And also these books would be appropriate for seminar courses at the graduate level. We have over 80 volumes published in this series. And in 2021, we published 10 front list titles. Okay, next slide. Thank you. Next series up is the Gruyter Expositions in Mathematics series. Again, very prestigious series. It was founded in 1990. One of the highlights of this series is, for us, is we have an international editorial board, meaning that we draw authors from internationally from several areas of the globe. Our editorial board is currently from Brazil, United States, France, Germany, Russia. We have 70 titles total in print, so it's a pretty prolific series. Recent publications have tended to focus on algebraic type topics. We have a new title on algebra that came out this past year: Algebraic Geometry, Knot Theory, Lie Algebras, Complex Algebraic Techniques, and finite groups. Okay, next slide. Thank you. Okay, now we're going to get a little bit more for a minute into the more applied areas. The series we looked at a little bit earlier, the last 2, were more theoretical. But I guess, as you know, as we've discussed several times, all these, de Gruyter is a very interdisciplinary publisher. So nonlinear analysis and applications lends itself to the interdisciplinary approach, especially in various fields such as control theory, systems theories, mechanics, engineering, and other sciences. I want to point out here that the topical coverage here, which I don't have a slide for, but maybe Darren will speak to it briefly, it overlaps with our Journal of Advances in Nonlinear Analysis. Again, we have an international editorial board, well, fairly international: USA, Switzerland, Chile, Poland, and Israel. We have 40 titles in print since 1992, and we published six front list titles this past year. Okay, next slide. Thanks. Okay, we're very proud of our Radon series on computational and applied mathematics. This series is in collaboration with the prestigious Austrian Academy of Science and the Johann Radon Institute for Computational and Applied Mathematics. All the editorial board members from this series are affiliated with this institute. And the series tends to publish material and content that comes from the prestigious Austrian Academy of Sciences. There are currently 28 titles in print in this series. Okay, next slide, please. Thank you. Thanks. Okay, one back, sorry. To the, thank you. All right, okay. So I wanted to cover this series because it's an up and coming series. Although there's only 11 titles of the series in logic and applications in print, over the next 2 years, we'll probably publish 10 titles in 2 years, whereas previously it's taken us over 10 years to publish 11 titles. The series editors are very active, and the series is aimed at advanced students and research mathematicians, and also serve as a guide for lecturers and seminars at the graduate level. We have editorial members from Israel, US, and Germany. Okay, thanks. Okay, next slide. All right, before I go on, I just want to add a few things. One of the things we're trying to do here at De Gruyter is we're trying to increase our publications from authors in the Americas. So the Americas, obviously, as you are well aware, encompasses more than just the United States. So we would like to increase our author representation in Mexico, in South America, and throughout the Americas. So I would encourage you as librarians and researchers to encourage your colleagues to publish with De Gruyter. And also, if they are interested in serving on our editorial boards, I would be more than welcome to invite them and discuss their ideas and thoughts. Okay, thank you. All right, now, okay, so let's go into a little future. As you can see on the left side, I just took some of our recent titles and things that we were interested in, and I did a nice, whatever this is, a word chart thing. So you can see, I mean, by its nature, it's very interdisciplinary. So we'll be publishing more in the future in interdisciplinary areas and more applied and perhaps less theoretical, because I think that's the way things are going in mathematics. Some of our new titles planned that I'm excited to speak about, and you'll see over the next, well, if the authors come through, you'll see it over the next 10 to 12 months. Might take a little longer, could be 18 months, but so some of the highlights are, we have a title coming out from Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute that I'm very pleased to discuss at length at other times, is computational mechanics and modeling of COVID-19. So this title really focuses on how do you take the fundamentals of mathematical modeling techniques that we all know about, and how do you apply them to a topical problem of COVID-19? How did COVID-19 spread? How do you stop it from spreading in closed areas using mathematical modeling techniques and simulations? What's going to happen? We can look at what's going to happen 6 months from now. Well, I can think about it all I want, or I can apply mathematical modeling techniques, and it's pretty accurate to tell us what's going to happen. It's been accurate so far. The researchers from Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute have been doing a lot of research in that area. Also, we have a new title out and coming out on game theory and probability for Bitcoin. Turns out that we can predict, well, we think we can predict how Bitcoin will behave, what the price levels will be, where Bitcoin's going, using mathematical probability techniques and stochastics. So that's pretty interesting. It's interesting to me. Other title that's applied and was of interest to students is problem solving in scientific computing. Talks about how to take numerical methods and how to use them in everyday life. That's very important for new graduate students who need to figure out how to use mathematical simulation tools like Maple and MATLAB and things of that nature. We also are topical. We're publishing an entry-level modeling book on Python, and a very exciting topic, applications of machine learning to solving difficult partial differential equations. So basically taking artificial intelligence and machine learning to solving mathematical equations, partial differential equations, which were previously very difficult to solve. Well, you could solve them, but it would take quite a long time. So if we apply machine learning to it, it's much faster and we get the answers much quicker. We have some innovative new products. As Christine discussed, our physical science review journal. We're going to do a similar journal soon, I hope, in mathematical science called Mathematical Sciences Review. And it's going to be patterned off after our well-received physical science reviews journal. And it will be an eFirst publication. We're going to be looking and aiming for an impact factor as well in the next 2 years. So I'm excited and happy to be with De Gruyter. And if you catch me sometime separately, I could talk for hours. My colleagues will tell you that that's not a problem for me. Okay, so the good news is we have a mathematics catalog that just came out. It includes information over 60 of our front list titles and 33 journals. I will forward you, Alicia, the URL, and then you can forward it to all our colleagues here and our librarians, and so they can look at the catalog online. And it has contact information for all the mathematics editorial staff, including my colleague, who I'm happy to hand it off to, Darren Green, who's going to discuss with you the wonderful world of journals. And there I am. I respond at all hours, any hour, to the much chagrin of my family. But I always respond to emails quickly. So feel free to email me at any hour. And chances are I'll respond quickly. So thank you very much. And I appreciate all your patience as I went through everything. So Darren, I'm going to hand it off to you. Take it away. All right, let's see if I can. There you go. Is Darren there or?
Darren, are you there?
Darren, are you there?
He was on the call before, so I'm not sure.
He's still in the participants list, so it should be there. But he's muted.
Oh, could you unmute him, Martin?
Hello, can you hear me now? I think I'm unmuted now.
Yes, now we can hear you.
Excellent. The host has apparently disabled my video, so if you could let me also show my video, that would be wonderful.
Héctor, ¿puedes activar a Daniel, por favor? Hazlo co-host. Gracias.
Okay. Okay, I'm still just getting a message that says you cannot start your video because the host has stopped it, but perhaps we should jump in anyway with the slides because I realize it's already almost 12 here in Boston. So we're almost at the end of our hour, but I only have about 10 minutes or so of slides. So if people are okay to stay on a bit later, I'll jump right in. Okay, next slide, please. So I'm going to just speak a little bit about De Gruyter's mathematics portfolio, the journals portfolio, starting with a quick overview. We have 39 journals in total in the mathematical space, and these cover a mix of pure and applied mathematical fields. Our journals are mostly English language publications, though some also accept German and even French language papers. And we cover the full range of mathematical subject areas, as you can see here, from analysis, algebra, number theory, etc., through to some of the more applied and interdisciplinary areas that my colleagues have been speaking about already. Next slide, please. In terms of publishing models, we have 24 subscription titles and 14 fully open access titles. But most all of the subscription journals actually also offer authors the option to publish their paper in an open access format if they want to do so. The funding picture for open access is a little bit mixed. There's an established green open access culture, of course, in mathematics, where authors put their papers on the archive. But funding has been growing over time, and we are seeing more movement in and more activity in the open access space. At De Gruyter, we review the portfolio annually to evaluate which journals might do better in a fully open access environment. And here we've got two of our nonlinear analysis titles that have recently and are about to move over into being a fully open access journals. So Advances in Nonlinear Analysis in 2021, and then Advanced Nonlinear Studies will be following in 2022. Next slide, please. Yes, in terms of quality, 18 of our 39 journals, or just under half in total, have impact factors. ANONA, the Advances in Nonlinear Analysis journal I just mentioned, is currently the highest with an impact factor of 4.279, which puts it just outside the top 10 of the 324 journals that are ranked in general mathematics. We also have 5 journals in total in the Q1 quartile, or the top 25% of math journals ranked by impact factor. 16 of our 18 journals actually saw increases in impact factors in 2020. So the general direction of travel is positive, and we're very focused on working with our editors to try to push forward with quality and to drive citations to journals. The journals are mostly ranked in mathematics and applied mathematics, but they're also indexed in several other categories such as mathematical and computational biology, statistics and probability, engineering, mathematical physics, mechanics, and so on. Next slide. So I want to talk just briefly about some of our flagships. Our really key flagship journal is the Journal for Pure and Applied Mathematics, the Journal für die reine und angewandte Mathematik, also known as Kreller's Journal. This journal was founded back in 1826 by August Leopold Kreller. He's the chap in the middle there. It's the oldest mathematical periodical still in existence and actively publishing, and publishes close to 100 papers per year. Actually, despite the title, it's worth saying that the journal publishes almost entirely pure or general mathematics content rather than applied content. It's a highly cited journal with an impact factor of 1.713. And it has a high rejection rate. So it really only accepts the very best papers. I think about 10% of submissions overall are published. The journal also has a truly international editorial board with the co-chief editors based in the US, Germany, in South Korea, and Australia. On the open access side, our flagship journal is probably Open Mathematics. This was a journal that is a very broad scope journal. It was launched in 2003 and is a high throughput journal, again, publishing around 100 papers per year. It has a relatively modest article publication charge set at 1,000 euros, and really, as I say, covers all the major areas of mathematics. The co-editors are based in Italy, but the editorial board is pretty diverse, with editorial board members, albeit chiefly from Europe and North America, also people from Argentina, Australia, China, Brazil, Kuwait, Mexico, Nigeria, and so on. I also wanted to just highlight one other quick flagship open access title, the journal Computational and Mathematical Biophysics. This was launched more recently in 2013. It's a mostly US-based, US-led editorial team. And it's a journal that really is focused on developing mathematical theory and methods and techniques to address real-world open problems at the forefront of molecular bioscience and physics. And so you can see here that we've been publishing quite a lot of special and themed issues on very topical themes around SARS and around COVID-19 in particular. Next slide, please. Another notable feature, I think, of the journal portfolio is that we publish with several societies and institutes around the world. So, for example, we publish with several Eastern European-based mathematical and science academies, including some of the groups listed here from Belarus, from Georgia, from the Russian Federation, and from Slovakia. We also published the Communications of the German Mathematical Society. That's actually an entirely German language publication with a German title, which I won't try and pronounce. And then somewhat closer to home, for me at least, we publish the Journal of Quantitative Analysis in Sports in concert with the American Statistical Association. So I think really the point of this slide is we do partner with a lot of academic institutes, and we're keen to do more of that activity going forward. And it's a very productive area for us for journal publishing. Next slide, please. In terms of our global presence and representation, we did some analysis of this earlier in the year. And this is just a quick look at our overall sort of situation. So 60% of our editorial board members overall are based in EMEA, or basically in Europe and the Middle East primarily, some in Africa. We have 28% of our editorial board members are in North America, and a growing percentage, only at 11 currently, but definitely growing in the Asia region. We only have, by contrast, just 1% of our editorial board members are in Central and South America, and just 12% are female. So there's really some work to do here in terms of diversifying the editorial board membership, the input that we have from outside North America and Europe, really to help us capture more papers from scholars from different regions around the world. And of course, underlying that to publish more good quality papers overall. Next slide, please. So to summarize, I just want to close with some general comments on trends and plans. So first of all, I think it's clear to everybody that we're really seeing some real growth in terms of research output from countries like China and India in particular, and we want certainly to capture and publish more good papers from those regions. We also want to publish more in hot topic areas, and some of the areas my book colleagues have already referenced: artificial intelligence, machine learning, data science, for example. I think on the journal side, that will be via a mix of new launches, hopefully new partnerships, but also changes to existing journals. So as an example here, IJNSNS, I apologize for the slightly cumbersome acronym, that's the International Journal of Nonlinear Sciences and Numerical Simulation. And that's a journal that will be relaunching from 2023 as the Journal of Nonlinear Complex and Data Science. So as the scope of the research output shifts and changes over time, we're constantly remodeling our journals to make sure they're really fit for purpose and doing a good job. We also expect to flip more journals to a fully open access model. But alongside that, and at the same time, we're really seeing ongoing increases in sales and usage of the non-open access titles. And it's probably worth saying that is primarily via growth in package and consortia sales rather than individual journal subscriptions. So the deal there really is a good deal. It's about getting lots of good quality content at a discounted price and getting more usage and access, and really growing that around the world. So our focus really, ultimately, I think, is both in books and journals, really. We're very focused on the quality and the integrity of the research that we publish, and as well as on the quality of the services that we deliver to our various stakeholders, whether those are editors, authors, readers, or wearing their different hats, and indeed, of course, librarians. These are my contact details. So as my colleagues have also said, please feel free to be in touch on anything related, in my case, to mathematical journalism. Thank you very much for your time and patience, and sorry to rush through that a little bit quickly, but thanks for listening.
Thank you very much, Darren, for your presentation, and apologize for this inconvenience about your camera, but you are co-host now. Maybe you can turn on your video. But well, thank you for all. Alicia, no sé si queramos traducir algunas preguntas. No me han llegado ninguna pregunta hasta el momento. Pero bueno, solamente decirles que en este webinario pues tenemos participantes de la República, de Saltillo, del Estado de México, de diversas instituciones en el país que están dando un seguimiento puntual a este webinario. No sé, bueno, well, Steve, for you, we are waiting for questions. But I want to make one question, please. I know that your plans are to encourage, or thank you for your invitation, to publish for Mexican authors, Latin American authors. It would be great to the authors to publish in the Greuter. But is it viable to publish in Spanish, for example? Or do you think the science and technology industry is optimized or focused only to consume in the English market?
Well, actually, if I may answer this question, we're thinking of this at the moment. We have an internal working group with we're dealing with the global south, not only global south, but also the Latin American and Spanish-speaking countries here, and we are investigating if that would be feasible for us to publish in Spanish as well. I know from other publishers that they are already publishing in Spanish, and the question in that case is always like, which topics are there, where would be reasonable for us to publish in Spanish. But this is actually one thing where we would really appreciate your input as well, especially when it comes down to several topic areas, and that is one reason why we put the QR codes with our V-cards in there, because we'd really appreciate to get in touch with you closer and have some maybe discussions on what we can do also in Spanish speaking, in Spanish.
Gracias, Daniel. Bueno, yo les estaba preguntando de que claramente Greuter es una gran editorial que está a la vanguardia de la ciencia y de la tecnología, y tal como nos dijo Steven, hay una invitación abierta para nosotros como bibliotecarios y bibliotecarias a animar a nuestros profesores, autores latinoamericanos, mexicanos, a que publiquen en estas revistas y en estos libros que realmente, pues, como les digo, son de vanguardia en la cuestión de ciencia y tecnología, con temas tan interesantes como inteligencia artificial, como la nanotecnología, como bien nos mostraron. Entonces, realmente creo que es una editorial que es de mucho prestigio y que yo creo que muchos autores mexicanos tendrían mucho reconocimiento cuando se animen a publicar en esta editorial. No sé si tengan alguna otra pregunta. Yeah, I have one more question about for our president, Brenda Cabral. She is our AMBAX president, and she asked how to ensure the quality in the publish and the research and the publish industry.
Does anyone of you, or shall I answer this?
Maybe if you start, Daniel, we could add. We have.
Yeah, because I mean, there's an established system of quality ensuring in the journals, which is peer review. Maybe Darren, I think you'll probably say something on this. But in our books section, we have similar topics. In mathematics, for example, Steve has a lot of peer reviews. Mostly every title is peer reviewed here. And then, of course, I mean, this is Christine is kind of from this community, and she knows as an editor and as an acquisition editor already. And this is what we are really keen on, to have people in our teams who know what they are talking about and what the community is talking about, and who can also judge if what is published in our portfolio. So this is an internal quality check on the one hand, and external quality checks on the other hand, where we're really very carefully looking at the quality of our content.
Yeah. Also from
the journal.
Oh, go ahead first, Dan. Yeah.
Sorry, I was just going to say briefly on the journal side, of course, all of our content is carefully peer reviewed. It's not just for correctness and originality, but also we have a really key focus on the integrity of the research. So we have some working groups within De Gruyter that look at issues around ethical integrity and such like. And yeah, it's really, really key to what we do. And when it comes to the open access side, we're very, very careful to make sure that decisions about publication of research are entirely separate from any discussion around ability to pay. So on the open access side, there's a lot of discounting and waiving that goes on, but we're very, very much not a pay-to-play type of publisher, because we know that ultimately our future will depend upon the quality and the integrity of the research that we publish.
Yeah. Additionally to the peer review that Daniel and Darren talked about in books and journals, we also have an eye on plagiarism, which of course is going to affect the quality. And so I know for sure we are using software like Authenticate to look over the manuscripts to make sure that, there isn't excessive plagiarism happening and that everything on that area is in order.
Thank you very much. Héctor, no sé si Alicia tenga problemas con su micrófono y su cámara.
Ya, sí lo tenía, pero ya volví a salir y entrar y ya pude. Disculpen.
Sí, Alicia. Any one of you, we have another question from Guadalupe Vega about how to manage this process between journals and the research data. If you use a data research repository or something like that, in order to how to manage the research data to publish.
Darren, do you want to answer this?
I'm not sure I can. It's a very big question.
Bueno, estoy preguntando, la maestra Guadalupe está preguntando acerca de cómo se maneja el vínculo entre los datos de investigación y las publicaciones. ¿Cómo es que si manejan algún repositorio de sus datos de investigación para hacer publicaciones? Sorry, go ahead.
So I would just say that we did an exercise around 18 months ago or so now across all of our different journal portfolios, where we came out with sort of a set of different approaches to data archiving and data policies. And it really varies by journal depending on the subject that you're in and the requirements of the researchers. So I think we have, from the top of my head, 4 or possibly 5 different basic approaches to this question, and it will depend on what subject you're working in. So if you're in the humanities, for example, it's a different approach than if you're working in mathematics in a more applied area.
Okay, thank you.
I don't know if my colleagues want to add anything on the book side there. I mean, I think the broader trend is probably to bring more data into the research publishing life cycle. That's the future, I suspect.
Yeah, for my area, it's actually a bit difficult because a lot of the books that we're publishing in physical sciences are kind of either fundamental text, which doesn't have a lot of data to go along with it, like if it's a graduate textbook, or it's a review style submitted chapter situation, which again doesn't have a lot of raw data to be repositoried. So if my equivalent was here like Darren, but in physical sciences, I'm sure that they could answer, but I think for me it's a bit difficult given my area.
And I'd be happy to send some information to the questioner there if that's useful after the meeting.
I was just going to add, from a mathematics perspective, obviously it behooves researchers to make their underlying data available. Many of our authors are now making things available. I guess, I don't know if your audience is familiar with GitHub. Yeah, GitHub.
Yeah,
it's an open platform where people can put their data and mathematics there. And of course, when possible, I always encourage authors to publish to make their data available. Yeah, and continuing to encourage authors to do that, because sometimes the data is reproducible, sometimes it's not, but data at its heart can be reused and reconfigured, and it can be helpful for future trends in research as well. So,
okay. Yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah, we use GitHub, so it can be a good tool for us in order to publish. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Well, We don't have more questions. No sé, Lupita o Alicia, si quieren comentar algo más.
No, no de mi parte, tampoco veo preguntas. No sé si Lupita quiera agregar alguna otra cosa.
No, fíjate que ya no tenemos más preguntas y creo que, bueno, pues han sido muy generosos con su conocimiento que nos han compartido el día de hoy, muy extenso y muy interesante todo lo que está ocurriendo. Les comento que está con nosotros aquí la doctora Brenda Cabral Vargas. Brenda, no sé si tú quieras tomar la palabra. Me parece que no. Así es que luego tienen problemas de micrófono. Y bueno, pues si no hay más preguntas y todo, pues darles nuestro agradecimiento y por este excelente webinario. Ustedes saben, tenemos la posibilidad de una multiplicidad de réplicas y que normalmente sí, estos webinarios se transmiten y retransmiten muchas veces. Entonces les agradecemos mucho el que estén con nosotros y nos hayan compartido estas interesantes experiencias en el área de las ciencias básicas. Yo, la verdad, estoy más en humanidades y sociales y por eso mismo, pues, también todo esto ha sido como muy apasionante. Thanks for your interesting presentation for all. It's very nice for me and for associated to the back because we have worked more in the humanities and social science. And in this moment, your presentation for some associates is very important. For example, the IMAS, I can see the Eugene and other person to the basic areas in Mexico work, library work. Well, sorry. Well, in this case, we presentation your constancias. Héctor, si nos haces el favor. Ok, thank you. Bueno, pues entonces pues voy a permitir entregarles sus constancias, ya en un español mejor que en inglés, por supuesto, les pido una disculpa, pero quisiera decirles que la Asociación Mexicana de Bibliotecas les otorga la presente constancia a Daniel Timán por su participación como ponente en este webinario, este 23 de noviembre, firma la doctora Brenda Cabral, que es nuestra presidenta. Muchas gracias, Daniel, por tu presentación. Asimismo, otorgamos la presente constancia a Cristina Smith por su participación como ponente. Muchísimas gracias, Cristina. Y también a Steve Elliott por su presentación como ponente en este mismo webinar. Muchísimas gracias, Steve.
Muchas gracias, para magnífica, para esto, perfecto para mi oficina en la pared.
Por supuesto.
Gracias.
Gracias. También te mandamos las fotos. Por supuesto que sí, Steve. Y también para Darren Green por también compartirnos en este webinario su ponencia, su parte que correspondió a cómo se desarrolla un programa de ciencia y tecnología este 23 de noviembre, firma nuestra presidenta. Muchas gracias, Darren. Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you. Gracias.
Y, por supuesto, para nuestro Martín Vera Cabañas, nuestro próximo secretario, por su participación como moderador en este webinario. Y gracias, Martín.
Muchas gracias. Thank you very much for all of you. You're clearly you're at the vanguard of this science and technology publishing, so we have to learn a lot from you. So thank you very much for this talk, and see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you.
Querida Alicia, pues entonces ahora te cedemos los micrófonos aquí para que nos compartas la presentación que tienes. ¿Qué pasó?
Todas las personas salir ahora.
Sí. Oh.
¿Cuánto tiene, Alicia, cuánto tiene la instituciones en la conferencia? 20, 22.
During the webinar, yes, 20, 22, but there are more in YouTube channel.
Oh, wow.
And by the end, they are going to share this content to all the members and the of the
Sure.
of Unbox.
¿Es posible para presentar para the grade de list de las personas y affiliations? Sorry, yo necesito hablando Spanglish.
No, está bien.
Pero yo hablo español, pero necesito de pienso en inglés.
En inglés, sí. Sí. Pero muy bien, muy bien tu inglés, Steve. Felicidades. Muchas gracias, además, por compartirnos unas palabras en inglés.
So Alicia, you can get us a list. That would be fascinating, actually.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Steve. Right now,
thanks.
I am going to just give a quick brief about our sales model.
Okay,
And
Daniel's calling me, of course, to go over things. So, Adia, thank you very much. Take care. Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Gracias, Steve. Alicia,
Bueno,
¿gustas hacer tu presentación?
Sí, muchísimas gracias. Pues bueno, ya vimos realmente muy interesante toda la parte de ciencia y tecnología que estamos teniendo en De Gruyter, con muchísimos cambios, muchísimas adecuaciones, precisamente pensando no solamente en toda la historia editorial que ya tenemos, sino hacia el futuro y bueno, el panel que tuvimos el día de hoy con los principales editores de estas áreas fue muy interesante. Y bueno, me gustaría concretar con los diferentes modelos que tenemos en la parte de libros y comentar un poquito en la parte de revistas. Entonces, como mencionaron en la presentación, nosotros tenemos un programa de socios editoriales que inició en el 2012 con Harvard University Press y de ahí ha seguido creciendo y actualmente tenemos más de 20 socios editoriales. Entonces, todo el contenido propio de Gruyter que ya vimos, más lo de nuestros socios editoriales, está disponible en diferentes modelos de adquisición. El primero de ellos tenemos una selección título a título. Voy a explicar cada uno de ellos brevemente. Tenemos ya las colecciones, como las colecciones de matemáticas que hablaba Steve. Tenemos paquetes especiales. También tenemos ahora un modelo piloto que es en base a evidencia, que es Evidence-Based Acquisition, y tenemos nuestro programa de University Press Library. Cada uno de ellos tiene un DRM no restrictivo, esto es que es un número ilimitado de usuarios simultáneos y un número ilimitado de descargas. En nuestro modelo de Pick and Choose, nosotros tenemos un listado que incluye los títulos del 2000 a la fecha, incluye todo el contenido de De Gruyter, tanto de ciencia, tecnología y medicina, pero también de sociales y humanidades, en donde ustedes como bibliotecarios o responsables de sus áreas pueden hacer una selección título a título de los títulos de su interés para las diferentes áreas. Y bueno, lo que manejamos son promociones con base al monto de selección. Posteriormente tenemos las colecciones ya establecidas, que si bien tenemos arquitectura y diseño, estudios clásicos, economía, también tenemos biblioteconomía, ciencias de la información, pero tenemos matemáticas, tenemos medicina y ciencias de la vida, física, química, ciencia de los materiales y geociencias, y cada una de estas colecciones incluye tanto el contenido propio como el de nuestros socios editoriales, y son 17 colecciones las que tenemos disponibles. Después tenemos las colecciones especiales, ya que hay instituciones que están interesados en algunos socios específicos, como por ejemplo Iberoamericana Verbiut, que es una editorial alemana que publica en español principalmente en lo que es literatura y lingüística, pero también tenemos series de matemáticas de Princeton, o puede ser de Amsterdam University Press, y son las colecciones especiales que manejamos. Si bien en Europa ya se maneja muy común nuestro modelo de Evidence-Based Acquisition, este modelo es piloto en lo que es las Américas, y bien, si tenemos disponible todo el contenido de De Gruyter, de cualquier idioma, inglés, alemán, tenemos el contenido disponible de De Gruyter solamente en inglés. Creo que lo que más aplica a nuestra región de México y Latinoamérica es hacerlo también por áreas, el contenido en inglés, y de tal manera que tenemos, por ejemplo, ciencia, tecnología, ingeniería, matemáticas y física, pero también para ustedes biblioteconomía y ciencias de la información. Y cómo funciona es que la institución selecciona el área o las áreas que sean de su interés, se abre el contenido que se tiene de esa área durante un periodo de 12 meses, pagando solamente un porcentaje mínimo del total, y al finalizar ese periodo, después con las estadísticas de uso, ustedes pueden seleccionar cuáles son los títulos que más se utilizaron y son los títulos que se van a quedar dentro de la institución. Y por último, nuestro modelo University Press Library, que inició en el 2014 como un modelo piloto, así como ahorita está Evidence-Based Acquisition, en aquel entonces con solamente 3 editoriales y 10 bibliotecas participantes. Actualmente les digo más de 20, aquí ya la conforman 16 editoriales y tenemos casi 50 bibliotecas participantes. Y cómo funciona es que si bien estas prensas universitarias tenían modelos mixtos, es decir, un modelo multiusuario, pero también modelos de un solo uso, lo que hacen con University Press Libraries es que los títulos que son de un solo uso se vuelven multiusuarios. Entonces pasamos de una gráfica de este tipo en donde tenemos multiusuario, pero si ven en la parte roja modelos de un solo uso, títulos de un solo uso, y con University Press Library se convierten en multiusuarios con solamente algunas pequeñas exclusiones. Y son los diferentes modelos que ustedes tienen para poder trabajar con de Gruyter. La parte de los libros electrónicos. Estas son las prensas universitarias que conforman nuestro University Press Library. Son alrededor de 58,000 títulos en total. 28% de ello es exclusivo. Y ustedes pueden seleccionar, me interesa el front list de Cornell, pero quiero los retrospectivos de Harvard. Me interesa los contemporáneos de Princeton. O bien cualquiera de los otros modelos que ya vimos en esta sesión. Parte sería todo. Les dejo nuevamente mis datos. Alicia Mandujano, soy la gerente de ventas para Latinoamérica, y mi correo alicia.mandujano@degruyter.com. Para cualquier duda estoy a sus órdenes.
Muchísimas gracias, Alicia. Pues te agradecemos mucho, y no solo por esta presentación y compartirnos lo que hace de Gruyter, sino también por el excelente panel que nos trajeron el día de hoy. Muchísimas gracias a ustedes. Bueno, estimados asociados, pues nos despedimos, nos vemos el día de mañana, tenemos otro muy interesante webinario, y bueno, pues nos esperamos. Que pasen una linda tarde, nos seguimos viendo. Hasta luego.
Muchas gracias.